Hi, Shashank.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I'm your host today. I'm Eric. So I'm one of the organizers here with the 1 million cups in this area. So excited to have you. Where are you located?
We're currently based in Dallas, Texas.
In Dallas. Okay.
Yep. And I think a couple of my team members should be joining as well soon.
Fantastic. We've had inconsistent attendees. Sometimes we'll have 6 or 7. Sometimes we'll have 25.
Okay.
And it's COVID has not made it easy. We used to have a real regular crowd of 20 to 30 showing up in person, but it's been a little bit different for us lately.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Leif.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I sent you a Slack message, but then I figured out where the pin stuff was and was able to log on without any issues.
Great. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I should have looked for it a few days ago. So Shashank and Nithin are on, but they're not on, so they'll be here soon.
Okay, queued up, ready to go.
They're
Well, good morning to you.
Yeah.
So just fake at the collective today, huh?
Fake at the collective today. That's correct. I figured it's a little too noisy to try to do it while there.
Yeah, for hosting, it's a little precarious.
I can't use headphones with this. There's a known problem with this particular computer and Zoom.
That's like the worst year to have that problem with your computer.
You'd think they'd have it fixed, but they don't have it fixed at Microsoft yet. So,
Well, we live near them. It's just like go tell them like, hey, can you just fix this really quick? It's more important.
They want us to use Teams.
Is this the whole conspiracy the whole time?
I doubt it, but it certainly is an issue.
I like a
I've
conspiracy
heard
theory.
great things about Teams, by the way.
Yeah, they've come a long way. It's just that like that network standard everyone expects. Zoom nowadays, because like most people are jumped onto it, and I think people have trouble jumping over to the other platform. Not sure what to do.
Yeah, it's weird. In the old days, we used GoToMeeting, and I tell you what, that is
Oh
still.
yeah,
But
Citrix. I love
Yeah.
how we can say the old days and refer to a piece of video conferencing software.
yeah, I used to use it. I used to use it when I would want to have like evening office hours.
Mm.
I didn't want to drive the 30 minutes back into work, so I'd say, hey, I'll have office hours. I'd hop on, and I'd only get 2 or 3 people, but they loved it. I mean, I'd write on the screen on my tablet and help them with their problems, and it was a great thing.
Very ahead of the curve. That is just now being wide stream for, I'm sure, a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
And
I
like
was
by
doing that-
forced default too.
yeah, I was probably doing that in 2010.
Nice.
Yeah.
2010. What was going on in 2010? Yeah. Definitely there was no Slack, or there was just beginning, maybe it was alpha for sure.
First time I saw Slack was, I think, in 2012 or 2013. I came across it with the guys from South Africa that I was working with. They said, we should communicate with this. Someone had recommended it to me, and it had been out just for like a couple of weeks. We didn't go to it because we were using Trello, and you could message within Trello. So
Yeah, I remember using Skype for business, or like Link,
uh-huh.
and that was really not nice. I did not like that. It was just, all the stuff we take for granted now, like being able to send stuff pretty quickly and easily through Slack, and even if it's the free version, it doesn't seem to be like a problem ever. Like it's like, you can't send more stuff, and then it's like, but we're not going to stop you. Freemium.
Yeah. Well, with our Slack, I think I was with our Slack that we have the maximum amount of pictures and stuff. So if we add more files to it, it just deletes the oldest one.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah, because it let me post one the other day, and then it said it was deleting one. So
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Well, then it should be pretty good. You shouldn't be storing files in Slack ideally, just like temporarily to
I
get a
agree.
point across.
I agree.
But if that one deletion happens, I'm sure they don't actually delete it, but they could hold it hostage for you very handsomely, I'm sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, we were using a thing called Pivotal Tracker at one point when we were doing our work, and turned out that the company, this is part of the issue I had, they turned it off. And one of the reasons was because it showed all the work I did, because I was very systematic in putting down everything I did into Pivotal Tracker, which is what we were supposed to do. And I was the only one who did it. So the good news is Pivotal Tracker said, well, you still have that email account. All you have to do is if you pay $6.99, we'll open it up for you for 1 month. So I sent them the email and said, I will go get this, because they still have it. They haven't deleted it. And so they hold on to it for like 7 years. That's like the statute of limitations or something like that. So it's kind of cool.
Wow. Yeah, I always wonder how much there's actually being like stored and backup and duplicate, and like how much it actually means. If they say online, like especially web service, it means if they say delete, what do they really mean by delete or not available?
I'm sure there's legal stuff, and I would know more about this, but our company had a data centers aspect to it, but we never got far enough for that to go anyplace, and I was not part of that. So, yeah.
Well, I'm sure you've learned a lot about retrieving old files with all of your lawsuit shenanigans you had to go through.
And I also worked on a archival. I didn't work too long on it. I worked for about 6 weeks with a company in Baltimore trying to find a way to help them monetize their situation. They really smart guys, didn't have any way to get any money. In the end, we got them in touch with some people at NASA of all places, and they now do work with NASA. But I did not stay with that team, but it was pretty cool. It was long-term archival referencing. So things that could last thousands of years, as long
Thousands.
as they don't get physically broken. Yeah. So that's the biggest challenge with digital information is how do you keep it?
For a long, long time.
Yeah. So CDs, really CDs and had like a 19 to 20 year time frame before mold and other bacteria would eat away at it and degrade it.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's lots of things that can impact these things. So making something that's archival is hard.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to think like all of our data in the world right now is just this very slow moving game of hot potato. Like it gets moved to the newest thing and they get to copy over to the newest thing and then it can't actually just sit anywhere for 40 years really, unless it's highly specialized.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's no one who's really doing that. So the big question is, how do you do that with all the books, with all the, who really cares about our Facebook posts? I guess historians in the future will, but I'll be going through and finding that one sage person who knows how to do Facebook right. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. This idea of making something archival, and archival means that like 1,000 years.
Yeah, it's similar to like what they sent out on, what is it? Good Morning, Victor. It was the, it wasn't called the Good Morning, Victor. It was called
Voyager.
Well, Voyager, yes, the Voyager, and it had like that human body, the two human bodies, and like etched in gold, and like all the different angles and everything.
And had a little record player there.
Yeah, and it was a little golden record, actually pretty decently big. Carl Sagan's brainchild, I think.
It was.
Yeah.
It was Carl Sagan. He was the Jet Propulsion Laboratory guy.
Yes, that was amazing. It's amazing that it's out there, just like flying off into the ether.
Yeah, they lost touch with it not long ago.
Huh.
I don't think they'll ever hear from it again. So we got a few people. Hi, Victor. Hi, Sheila. We got Shashank and Nathan are still working in the background there, waiting for them.
Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning.
I joined everyone from the picturesque Shell station.
Camping?
Yeah. I was hoping for a better signal at this location, and I got there. I was very excited last night, and it was like full bars. And then I went to download or upload anything, and it was like, being measured in decimal points. And I'm like,
No.
gotta go back into town tomorrow.
Wait, where are you now?
I was camping over like just off the 90. Like there's some campgrounds up near past North Bend,
That's awesome.
and
Just by
I was
yourself?
hoping that there would be like signal, but it was a false signal. So
Yes. Welcome aboard, sir.
Ash, good morning. Truck station coffee. Mhm. By the way, this is a small.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? This is probably like, I don't know, 24 ounces of coffee.
It's the 1 million cups small.
Yeah, it is. The Coppin Foundation would be so pleased.
Would be. I will.
Yeah.
You're either in a great place or that's a backdrop like I have.
It's definitely a backdrop, but I don't have the green screen capability on my computer. It's about the computer's about 10 years old. So
Got it.
so if I do the video, I mean you kind of see like a ghost shadow of me running around on the backdrop.
Fair enough. Well, I'm hoping that Shashank, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I hope that you can pop on here soon so we can get started.
Yep, we are here. Our team is here.
Oh, there you go. Hey, the whole squad. Well, do you guys feel like getting ready and getting moving? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this little bad boy and see if I can get my presentation going. Should be. Hi, everyone. Can you guys all see the screen?
Yep.
Fantastic. I'm Eric. I'm one of the organizers for the Seattle 1 Million Cups. Thank you for being here this morning. If you are currently here and on, please take the time to maybe grab your phone, download the app, and check in with us. It'd be fantastic to know that you're here. And the app's pretty good, and it lets us stay in touch with you. I'm checking in right now. Boom, done. That's how long it took. So if you could do that, it'd be great. So what are we about here at 1 Million Cups? Well, mainly it's about sharing and offering and asking and building all of these things that entrepreneurs need to do. They need to get together, they need to support each other, all while drinking some coffee, or if you're like me, some other kind of canned beverage of caffeine of choice. What makes us different than the other groups that get together? Well, we're about presentations, we're about connecting, and we always do this for the community, and we try to be as radically and intentionally inclusive as you could possibly be. We're not about pitching, we're not about networking, we're really about getting together and forming groups and letting people know each other and know what's going on and sharing. This happens all over the country. About 150 to 200 groups are going on today in all 4 time zones. Lots of attendees per day, and then a whole bunch of volunteers. For example, I think that this might even be out of date, but over 8,000 entrepreneurs have met at a 1 Million Cups facility like this that you see here, or online via Zoom right now during the COVID pandemic. And as you saw in that last picture, we had a wonderful space that we normally meet at, and we'd like to thank them. This is the Collective. Whenever we do get to meet in person, we meet at the Collective. It's a wonderful spot. We also have some sponsors. Seattle Strong provides coffee when we're at the Collective, and our meetup group and other things are still handled by a small studio. There's a group of volunteers that make this happen. And here's here's the group of misfit toys that you see in front of you. 3 of us are here today. 3 of us are not. So we got half of us. We're happy with that. So if you would like to become a volunteer, all you'd have to do is contact us. We are still looking for people to help us out. It's great because you get to learn a new skill. You get to practice something for your particular business. You can practice on our time and really help the community and be a part of the community. So if this is something that interests you, please, please come to our website and click and we'll talk to you. So what you should expect today is we're gonna have one presentation, and that presentation will be about 6 minutes. And afterwards, there will be about a 20-minute question and answer session. When that ends, with time, if there's any time remaining, what we'll do is we'll get together and we'll break into some breakout rooms and have some more community chat so you can get to know some people on a more personal level. So that being said, I would like to share the screen with Shashank. Is it Shashank? Yep, okay. And so I'm going to share the screen, and this is their company is named Bonsai.
A clap to the stage.
Now I've got to share the screen with.
Board screen sharing.
Yep, we see your screen.
You see my screen still, right?
And Eric, did you make him a co-host already?
No, I'm making him a co-host right now. That's why I couldn't find him. Thank you, sir.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Customer service is the industry ripe for disruption. According to multiple studies by Forbes in 2019, the majority of customers base their purchase decisions on customer support. But as businesses grow, customer support can too often fail to keep pace, which can lead to long response times, added costs, and overall customer dissatisfaction. Now, though help documents and FAQs attempt to solve the problem, they're often too difficult to understand or hard to understand. Customers are left asking the same questions about common issues and still face inefficiencies that's miscommunication.
Introducing Bonsai, the AI-driven customer service assistant. At the core of Bonsai, there are three main features, including real-time ticket triaging, in which incoming tickets are automatically assigned to their appropriate categories, instant query responses, in which using machine learning, we are able to take an incoming customer service ticket, search through a company's knowledge base, and automatically generate an answer within seconds. And lastly, streamline support, which enables the customer service agent to send relevant macros and articles at the click of a button.
So currently what happens when a customer service ticket gets sent to a company is at first it goes to a representative who has to actively route that ticket to its appropriate department. And after it's been routed, it gets sent to the appropriate department, and another agent has to look through the company's knowledge base and find an answer for that ticket, which takes around 10 to 15 minutes. And that's where Bonsai comes in. Bonsai reduces that 10 to 15 minute time to around maybe 30 seconds. So let's take a look at your customer service ticket as it goes through Bonsai. Firstly, your ticket is submitted through an email, phone, or alternative interface. Now, Bonsai receives that ticket directly or through a third-party ticket management software such as Zendesk or Freshdesk. This ticket is immediately sent to our first layer of deep learning models, which are used to triage or categorize the tickets. With an accuracy rate of around 85 to 90%, we will categorize the question almost instantaneously and route it to its appropriate department. Lastly, Bonsai's second layer of deep learning models searches the company's knowledge base and crafts a suggested answer with around 90% accuracy. This answer is returned to the customer service agent within 30 seconds. So let's take a look at how Bonsai works.
So for our demo, we chose Airbnb as the example case study company, and we've compiled over 500 articles written by Airbnb. And we have fed these articles into our machine learning model, and we have generated a pretty comprehensive model. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So here we can see our ticket dashboard with pre-existing tickets. Let's go ahead and generate a new ticket. My question is basically, how is Airbnb assuring the cleanliness of a place, especially during COVID-19 times? So let's go ahead and submit them. Awesome. As you can see, it's been delivered to our backend database. And this is when our first layer of our machine learning model kicks in. We're actively trying to triage and reroute this ticket to the appropriate department. And as we can see, it has rerouted it to guest services, which is good. And now the second layer of our model is to generate an accurate answer, which we have done so here with a confidence rating of 96%. And let's go ahead and apply it. And easily we can apply it into the text box. We've also generated relevant resources. Let's go ahead and take a look at the article that we believe will help our customer. This is indeed the article that we were looking for.
Yeah, so just some highlights in the Airbnb case study. So we found out that a typical agent can only solve around 30 to 50 tickets per hour. However, we can solve tickets within milliseconds, and we can scale up to meet high traffic times, such as the holidays, as well as other seasonal times. And so we also offer our services at the fraction of the cost it would take to hire another agent in order to meet these demands.
So Bonsai is disrupting the $350 billion and still rapidly growing customer service industry, which according to multiple studies, businesses, specifically Fortune 500 companies, are estimated to lose about $75 billion each year just related to customer service. whereas Bonsai's AI solutions can pave the path towards better customer engagement, with our initial target market consisting of small and medium businesses using software such as Zendesk and Freshdesk, as well as fast-growing startups that are needing to streamline their customer support experiences. In the future, Bonsai will also be able to implement its machine learning models in areas such as finance, IT, and healthcare.
So with our integration of auto ticket triaging and answer generation, Bonsai offers a complete solution to seamlessly integrate with anyone's workflow, increasing the productivity and efficiency of customer service agents exponentially. And unlike our competitors, the use cases and opportunities for Bonsai are endless, ranging from a customer-facing chatbot to sentiment analysis.
So here's a quick overview of our team, ranging from students currently at the University of Texas at Austin. And this is our advisor board, including people from Angel Hack and Investor. Moreover, with Investor, we recently signed a contract with them in which we are providing our services for one of their largest fintech communities. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. That was a lot of fun. We've never had a round robin presentation like that, especially on Zoom. So well done. Let's take a look. Before we get going, I'm going to grab control of the screen again. And just let you know that if you have a question, it's real simple here. All you have to do is go to the participants part. If you click on that, and when it comes down, you can raise your hand, and that way I'll know that you want to ask a question. So we've got 2 people who have already raised their hands. We have 3 people. Holy cow, this is great. I'm gonna get the chat up, and I'll be able to call on people. Victor, do you want to start us off?
Yes, good job, guys. That was really cool to see. It sounds like, you know, you definitely put a lot of work in here, and it's really, you know, I think you've definitely captured a gap and a need in the market, and to also coordinate the different slides with all you guys is pretty good too. I will be honest, when you started, it was hard for me to tune in. It was really like, it did sound very robotic, and so just started off with saying, you know, something about customers or whatever. It was good after I started to tune in and really understand what this platform is for and what you're after. But I would encourage it. I'd actually be curious, like, where you find yourself presenting something like this, or where you feel like you're, you know, who your audience is, and I'd be curious, like, how you would address that if it, yeah, depending on your audience. I think regardless, though, it would be helpful to have some more interesting hook. Maybe if it's a story, maybe if it's, you know, a reason that you are starting this in the first place, maybe a personal problem that you've seen. I think this is a really common thing with a lot of our presenters, is that we get really excited about our solution and what we're building, but really setting up that problem and setting up that why in the first place would be really helpful. So yeah, that's just kind of some feedback that I have and sort of my experience. But other than that, it was really well thought out, and sounds like it's a really good need.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. And in the future, we'll definitely try to have a little more enthusiasm at the beginning, definitely to capture the audience's attention.
You're on mute, Zaki.
Thanks, Victor. That was a great question. Murgesh, you're up next.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm curious. This is a very big market. A lot of companies would be wanting to solve this. Clearly, is there. Why did you guys come to this in the first place? And where do you see your first entry point being? You said SMB, which is, I think, a better start than going to an Airbnb or somebody like that to offer these solutions. I'm just curious to hear how you guys came to this and how you're thinking of getting into the hands of real customers.
So how we really came up with this idea and model is that Jathan and I are actually researchers at the University of Texas at Austin. We do machine learning and deep learning research, and we thought that we could develop a proprietary model that could basically solve this problem, because we saw that some of our peers are working in this industry, and they've told us that the majority of the time it takes is for the customer service agent to look for a certain answer, because they're really not equipped with the knowledge or skill set to answer these specific questions. So they're given a knowledge base essentially and told to go look for the answer and return it back to the customer. So, and we realized that this was a very big problem that we can optimize very easily using machine learning and deep learning models. So that's how we really came up with this idea. And an entry point we would say for us would be, we're currently talking with 2 fintech companies named Branch and Investor, and we're looking to integrate with their specific systems to give them a beta trial of what we can offer.
Okay, thank you.
Sheila, it's your turn. What's going on?
Well, that was the presentation. I felt like really was thorough and full of facts, and helped me understand by the end that your kind of differentiator is the machine learning and the deep learning. At the same time, I throughout had a question in the back of my mind, like, how can this help the customer experience? Or like, I kind of got, it could definitely potentially help the company by automating, but is there any possibility that would actually help the customer experience?
So just to reiterate, we're not trying to essentially automate the process and cut out the customer service agent. What we're trying to do is provide a tool that the customer service agent can use to essentially find the answer that they need in a very short and efficient manner. So right now, a customer service agent would take around 10 to 15 minutes to find a certain answer for a question. But with Bonsai, they would be able to find that answer within 30 seconds and increase the response rates to these customers as fast as they can, which would allow the customer essentially to have a better experience and get a better, thorough answer from the company that they're talking to.
Gotcha. So what also kept popping in my mind, especially since March, it's almost impossible to get a customer service agent on the line. So it's like, I had the impression that you were going to replace all those other chatbots with a Bonsai chatbot or something. So I don't know, maybe a story would help position that, or I kind of had a sense of, oh my God, here we go, with less customer service. Just because of my recent experience of everything being de-staffed. And then who is your actual ideal client then?
Some clients that we're looking for is clients that have an established customer service branch or department in their company, and a company that has a knowledge base that it gives to their customer service agent. So if they have those 2 things, then we can essentially plug into any system that they have and help them out.
Well, thanks for your presentation, and it looks really good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leif, your question, sir.
And I unmuted on the first try. All right. So awesome presentation, everyone. I thought that was really cool. Never done the round robin here before, and it was very, very well polished. And I almost might say a bit overly well polished, kind of feedback you heard from other people. And I really like this Q&A part right here because you're each talking very free form and you're just kind of thinking on the top of your head of what's the most relevant thing for that moment. I feel like the presentation that I saw a couple minutes ago was very applicable to like a business school class. And so if you're going for a general audience, you might, like Victor and other people brought out, kind of, you know, go straight into it and go over all the facts and figures and the wonderful things about it, which there's a lot of really great things to like about Bonsai. But I think we missed out on a lot of the great story. Like I heard that, I don't know if it's true, but did one of you or some of you work at Airbnb customer support? Or is that just some friends?
Right. So that was just some friends.
Okay. Yeah. But you had close connections to people that are probably like, you know, really upset with the process and be like, this is crazy. You know, this is not scalable. And like having that rage and trying to solve a problem through like that makes you full of rage is like a really great way to get passionate about a business problem. So that was just kind of the thing that was missing for the presentation for me, is like the genesis of like why we care so much about this and what we're going to do about it. We saw what we're going to do about it, which was great. My question for you is, what are your like big unknowns, like the things that you think about at night going to bed thinking like, man, I don't know what to do about this, or which way we should go, left or right from here?
Right. So right now, I guess our biggest concern is customer acquisition, because right now we have a pretty solid MVP, as well as our dashboard is built out as well. But right now, we need to know what the customer's feedback is. And so right now we are in high level talks with Branch, and we've already signed an NDA, an agreement with Investor, in order to start integrating with their data sources and their customers. And so, you know, that's kind of initial right now. We actually just signed it yesterday. And so right now we're in the process of integrating. And so, you know, we do want to acquire more customers so that we can get more feedback in different industries, because right now those two companies are in the fintech space. But Bonsai is so much more and can be deployed into so many different industries. And so we want to get a range of different experiences. For us, it's all about the user experience as well as helping customers at the end of the day. And so that's ultimately what we want in order to acquire more beta partners in order for us to receive feedback.
And so as you go through this journey of trying to do customer acquisition, especially really early on, have there any lessons you've learned so far that you can be like, all right, these are not our customers, or maybe not initially, or any like, you know, sometimes finding those no's are very helpful in filtering down who to target your effort at.
Right, absolutely. Funny story, I think we had around like 80 to 90 companies before we met Investor. And so from these other companies, we learned a whole range of different things. Some of the big ones are that some of the companies that use legacy software, they don't really see integrating with Bonsai as very easy, because some companies in the healthcare space, for example, have around 40,000 different systems going with different knowledge bases and sources for different agents. And it's just a entirely different mess for them. And so on our end, doing that would be nearly impossible or take a lot of development time. And so we ideally see our customers as new companies that are emerging, or companies that are having a pretty solid knowledge base into one source or two, something that we can easily integrate with. For example, with Zendesk, we've partnered up with Zendesk and Freshdesk. So the average time to install Bonsai and get everything up and running is around 5 minutes. Everything just seamlessly builds into Zendesk and Freshdesk. Because we really put the customer and the agent in the forefront of what we do in terms of a development standpoint. And so that's just kind of how we approached it. So just going back to your no's, we have you know, experienced a lot of no's. And so we've kind of asked them questions on why that is. And so we've kind of went from there.
Wonderful answer. Thank you. There's a lot of good introspection there, or extrospection.
Thanks, Leif. Let's see who's next. Ryan, you're up.
Thanks, guys. Really nice presentation. Very, very nice. Only thing I'd have to add is maybe opening with like an example, to build off of, I know Victor was saying there, like an example of a customer service horror story that this sort of thing could help address. And then maybe showing like a pie chart or a graph side-by-side comparison of like, this is the amount of time that goes into the typical customer service interaction, like this large swath of it over here is doing this, and like only this tiny bit is actually dedicated to typing in the answer and hitting send to the customer, whereas over here with Bonsai we could take most of this stuff, automate it, and move more of that time over to the CSR there. Maybe showing how this scales at different levels too, like if you have 2 customer support agents, this is what it'll look like, or if you have 200, here's what it'll look like, or 2,000, just giving people a different idea of how this would work at scale there. And then my question for you is, you guys are 4 guys that came up with this, right? What's if another 4 guys come up with a similar sort of thing? What is going to be different about Bonsai that people should continue to use it? If 4 other people are able to come up with a similar sort of machine learning process, what do you have to fall back on? What sets you apart or differentiates you?
Right, absolutely. And first of all, thank you so much for your feedback. We'll definitely take that into consideration and add that into our pitch deck. And second off, to answer your question, the main advantage that we have over our competitors is that our natural neural net is actually on the scale of milliseconds. And so we tested out the other companies. And so we can actually handle 50,000 different unstructured data within milliseconds. And so what I mean by that is that with example companies such as Airbnb, the answer was embedded within an hour and 20 seconds of a YouTube video. And so from an agent perspective, being able to find that video and then actually swifting through it and finding the answer is very hard. And so what we've done is we've actually swifted through a YouTube video, PDFs, documents, everything that they had, all these unstructured data sources within milliseconds, and provided them with that 96% confidence rating. And so when we look at our competitors, no one else is really doing that. No one else has applied this unstructured data approach to what we're doing. And another thing is that we're always constantly evolving and learning. How we built our deep learning model from the ground up is to always learn. And so we always look on past ticket data, as well as we look at ticket data that's coming in right now. For example, let's say that Bonsai provides the agent with an answer, and the agent applies that answer into their dashboard, but then changes up some things to make it more personalized. So Bonsai actively starts looking at that and starts learning about that. And then for future tickets, they're able to add that personalization that the agent has added specific to some industry. And so that's really 2 main features from a technological standpoint that we have.
Cool.
Fantastic. So, one of the things I'm hearing from a lot of the people here, and it kind of struck home with me too, was the very beginning of the presentation could use a better hook. And the one that kind of pops into my head, and I like what Ryan said, but the one that pops in my head was those old commercials where about 5 years ago, where the guy said, "Hi, I'm Bob." And it was a male enhancement pill, but they went through, here's what Bob does. Here's what Bob does. You guys could really have like, here's, Joe, he's a customer service guy, and start with that. Like, I think start with that person's life, what's going on. I think that gets to the point that both Leif and Ryan were talking about, even Victor were talking about, get them right and get them hooked right away. So fantastic stuff. I think that I see that Mrugesh has his hand up again.
Yeah, so sorry, I again, reiterating what these guys are saying, I think I personally lost you guys as soon as you said it takes 10 minutes to look up something on a customer support call, because I don't think anybody here has been on a call, or rarely, where a customer support agent took 10 minutes to look up something, right? So 90% of the time, 95% of the time, the questions are fairly simple and straightforward for most of the customer support agents, I'm assuming, in most scenarios. So when you started talking about indexing into a video a minute in or whatever to find even more enhanced answers, that kind of struck to me, right? So that shows some differentiation. So just talking about an average customer service rep putting somebody in a hold for 10 minutes, that seems like an unusual situation rather than the mainstream solution. So your hook has to be something upfront about something hard that you've done that nobody else has done, which solves a real problem, brings a more precise answer to the customer. That'd be my feedback.
Right, and I absolutely agree. I think there's some misunderstanding there. Just to re-clarify, so what we do is that after looking at all the previous ticket data, if we do find that a ticket is reoccurring, then we have a pretty high confidence rating, and it's depending on the customer, but usually we set that up to 90%. And so if we're more than 90% confident that our answer is correct, then we can automatically just reply to the customer. And so this is for naturally reoccurring tickets or FAQs type questions. And so for the 10 minutes, we're talking about more technical questions. For example, with the Airbnb case study, we also had a different question set that were posted by developers. And so with developers, you have more technological questions. And so with this is where the 10 minutes would really come in. For example, if you think about healthcare and the different processes that they have in different systems and steps that they need to take, that's kind of where we kind of help in. But I absolutely agree with you. For questions that are pretty frequent, the customer agent, will be able to find that answer pretty quickly. But again, we also look through macros as well. And so macros is basically things that are written up by the company itself. And so by looking through the macros, we can tell them, hey, this is a template that your company created and is ready to be pushed out to this customer. And so all they have to do is just hit send on that one.
Okay. So maybe that's what you need to lead with. You go after the more the technical hard questions market, because that'll make it really obvious to me that you're solving something hard. Otherwise, it seems like a solution looking for a problem.
Right, absolutely. And that's why we are tackling fintech companies and healthcare companies at this standpoint.
Okay. Good luck.
So I have a real quick question before I move you on. I want to just make sure that I'm clear on this. Are you guys integrating with Zendesk and Freshdesk, or are you completely a competitor with them?
Right. So we do have two different systems. And so the first one is a complete integration with Zendesk, because in our minds, there's no need to compete with Zendesk, who's built a customer base for the last 10 years plus. And so what we do is we just want to build upon that existing customer base. And so that's kind of one area of what we do. And it's working out pretty well right now. And so a second area is just selling our API and licensing that out. And with Investor, that's exactly what we're doing right now, because they already have a development team. And so they already have their own platform and everything like that. And so they don't, they don't feel the need to, go out and install a Zendesk or some other platform. So what we do is we provide them a Lightwork framework, which is our API and everything that we provide in terms of answer generation, looking up documents and everything like that. And so those are kind of our two areas. And again, neither of them are competing with Zendesk directly.
Thanks. That clears that up completely. I thought I saw Will. Did you want to ask a question? I thought I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I did, but then during the conversation, they actually answered it, so this is fine. But I'll go ahead and ask another one here. I mean, right now you guys are at MVP. Do you guys have a particular product roadmap that you guys have developed? Or, what are some of the features that you kind of want to start adding in, as you're continue bringing customers?
Right, absolutely, and great question. So right now, we do have the answer generation, we have the document lookup, and all of these nice features. Part of our MVP that allows us to answer questions at the bottom of the line. But now, going forward, we're approaching our phase 2. And so phase 2 is integrating with self-deflection. And so what we mean by self-deflection is allowing the customers to answer their own questions. And so when we approach clients as well, it's much easier for them to write one line of JavaScript code and add a chatbot feature to their website than it is to maybe, integrate with Zendesk and then add their knowledge bases and all these different components. And so that's exactly what we're doing in terms of phase 2. we're approaching them with a chatbot service that will be added to their website as a little widget in the bottom right-hand corner. And so this will basically allow the customer, if they have any questions, to type in that question, and then we automatically look through the knowledge base and internal documents as well, and we provide them with an answer. And again, if this answer is not what they want, we can automatically relay this message over to an agent, and the agent can reply to them. But this service is really good for really small companies and startups who don't really have a big agent support staff and just need to be able to deflect answers. And so, we're kind of building this out to for these companies, basically, essentially.
Thanks. Leif, it's you, sir.
I always have so many questions. So this is my turn to learn from you, and that is, how did you go about assembling your advisory board?
Right, absolutely. So in full transparency, Nitin and I worked on a previous startup as well. And so we actually exited that one about, I'd say a year ago, right, Nitin? Something like that. And so with that one, we gained a lot of different connections and different contacts. And so we've kind of outreached to them, as well as we've just cold emailed, as well as looked into our alumni network as well from our school. That's kind of where we found Nora, who is the COO of Investor. And so, we kind of just used up all of our connections and kind of figured out who would be the good match for our company at this standpoint. And so that's kind of who we've assembled right now.
Got it. Well, thank you. And I'm going to leave you with one other thought, is expanding on what Ryan asked about what differentiates you. You answered your question as your product. And I think it's Ash Mura that says, like, your product is not your product. Technology can be changed tomorrow, and the next person could be in with something hotter or better or faster and sweeter. So to keep in mind, like, what really makes you work as a business are your business ideas. That can be changed depending on the product and your leadership structure and how you work together as a team and all that kind of stuff. So something to think about when answering that question.
Right, absolutely. We'll definitely take that into consideration.
Ryan, you have another question.
Yeah, I just wanted to, ask about the end game. Do you have a couple different end game directions you could take here? Like, are you hoping to have Zendesk gobble you up and acquire you and integrate into their sort of thing? Or are you looking to sell it to some other company? Are you looking to grow this into its own enormous enterprise? Like, what direction do you see it? Do you intend on sticking with it all the way through to the bitter end, selling off, remaining on to advise? Like, where do you see this going, 5, 10 plus years from now?
Right, absolutely. And so great question. And so with Investor, we met with the CTO. And so he's had over 58 years of industry knowledge in this, as well as he was the guy who kind of spearheaded the Oracle customer software development back in the day. And so he was really excited about our product. And right now he's doing things in quantum computing as well. But anyways, he has a large connection, including AT&T's CTO. And so he's really excited. And so he kind of said that, if everything goes well with Investor, then he would agree to allow us to have sit down with these companies. He'd arrange for meetings personally. And so with that, we kind of see an acquisition deal with one of these companies instead of kind of licensing out our services to them. And so that's kind of where we see ourselves in the next around 3 to 4 years.
Cool. So just to clarify, hoping the AT&T buys the whole thing outright, or like an exclusive deal with them, or what?
Exactly. So depending on the royalty or license structure, we can either go with a licensing structure or just an outright buyout.
Cool. Right on. Good luck, guys.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. That was a question I was going to ask next, Ryan. So perfect there. I can tell you that other people to look at that think of themselves as technology companies, but we don't normally think of them as technology companies, would be banks. I've had the privilege of being in the room chatting. Well, I didn't chat, but someone else was chatting with, I think his name's Brian Roberts from
Comcast.
Comcast, right? From Comcast. And he was saying that banks no longer consider themselves to be money companies. They consider themselves to be technology companies. And he talked about how they all have so much more technology and they've got almost blank checks for cyber. So something to look at is those kind of companies are in need across their entire infrastructure of maybe some sort of quickening of their response times. Comcast could use you, trust me, because they're really everyone nodded. Everyone nodded. Well, actually, this is a great time to end. There's no other hands up.
I actually did have a hand. I can't raise my hand as a co-host.
I see it. Yeah, Victor's got a thumbs up. So
yes. You said that one of your biggest pain points right now for yourself is customer acquisition. And I think you were hitting upon it with Leif earlier, but can you reiterate what were your objections that you're getting from current customers or current people that you're going after?
Right, absolutely. So right now, some of the biggest pain points is that these companies have really legacy and outdated systems. And so out of the different companies that we've spoken to initially were these type of companies. And so from that, we've kind of learned and we've kind of started marketing ourselves differently and started outreaching to better suited companies for us. And so some other pain points are just kind of, they might already be using an existing system, right? Or they don't want to really change out their system. But how we've kind of approached Branch Investor, and I think that's how we're kind of going forward from there, is that we're going to be actually testing out their customer service before we even have a meeting with them. And then we'll take all those data points and then show them that, hey, your customer agent took around 2 days or 3 days to respond. And so from that, the people on the management side can really look at it and go, oh, wow, yeah, this is an actual problem. And then when we show a side-by-side comparison with our product and showing them that, we can answer something in milliseconds and will take maybe like 5 minutes or 2 minutes to get back a feedback, they're really amazed and they're starting to be more open to integration. And so Branch and Investor are just two companies that have said a hard yes for us. We also have 8 other companies in the pipeline right now that we're having high-level talks and agreed to a second or third meeting. And so that's just kind of like where we're at. But we're always looking to kind of expand out our initial beta partners. So if anyone has any connections, we'd be more than happy to hear them out.
Awesome. Yeah, that is very smart to be able to really tailor that, and really have the company or the customer see themselves as in like that problem or in that pain point. So to really do that research ahead of time and really show that to them is key. And I think, again, maybe also to add on top of the other point of what makes you different, I think, along with the technology, which I can hear from all of you here, is that there's a lot of power behind the technical aspects of it. And you can definitely go far. I think that extra flavor is a more personal touch. It's a more motivation. It's a more like higher level why behind why you're doing this, why you guys are the ones to be doing this, right? So hearing more of maybe what drew you together, why you're that. A lot of business, a lot of entrepreneurship is not just about the product, or it's about the people, the team that's being held together. So I did want to hear more about you four, like how did you all come together and what made you want to start this project? I'm assuming it might have been part of a school project, if I'm not mistaken. That's maybe an assumption, but I did want to hear that, right? Like what brought you together? And I think if you are investing, or pitching to investors, they do want to hear maybe a little more about that. I don't have pitching to investor experience, but I think, in terms of what makes you different, hearing that sort of story would be helpful. So, and yeah, in terms of customer acquisition, yeah.
Right, absolutely, for sure. And just to kind of briefly touch on that, so at my time at UT Austin, I was part of a student-led VC firm called Genesis Venture Capital. And so over the past 2 years, we raised around $2.7 million to help fund startups. And so from those startups, we've put around 5 startups into Y Combinator, if you guys have heard about their program. And so from there, we actually met with Anderson Horowitz, so the managing director of Anderson Horowitz. And so after talking with them, he really said the customer service was one of their investment opportunities, or kind of where they're looking to invest in right now. And so after hearing that, we did some more research, and then me and Nitin, as Nitin said earlier, were researchers at that time at UT Austin as well, inside a deep learning computational lab. And so we kind of stemmed out and we created our own research lab, and we spent around 6 to 8 months building out our proprietary deep learning model. And so from there, right now, we're looking into monetizing that model, because at the end of the day, that's kind of one of our most valuable IP that we own right now is our model. Like I said, it kind of beats out our competitors in terms of time as well as confidence ratings. And so then Shashank and Pratibhi, Shashank, we actually worked with a previous startup, the startup that I mentioned earlier that was acquired. But so with Shashank, it was just natural for him to join on. And with Pratibhi, he is just a great full stack developer and brings us a swarm of ideas that we've had the opportunity of working with as well as in the past. So that's just kind of how we assembled the team and how the team came along.
Awesome. Yeah, and I would love to hear more of that, experience of, this, it took this 6 to 8 months, right? Like this is an idea in the making, and that's what all brought you together. I did have one more thing if we had time. I am curious. Yeah, I am curious, like, I wonder, because this does sound like it's going to create a lot of job displacement. Is that correct to assume? Like, all the different current, triage teams probably.
Right. So right now, naturally, companies are starting to realize that they don't need one person in order to triage everything, because naturally software is coming, if it's not us, it's going to be someone else who's coming in and it's going to, do triaging. And so we don't really see it as displacement. And again, we're not trying to displace any agents whatsoever. We're trying to provide a tool for them that is able to help them answer questions more quickly. And so, we see that instead of having, maybe 50 different agents, inside a call center, we can drop that number down to more, I wouldn't say valuable, but more quality different agents who are able to utilize the tools that are given to them and are able to answer more, questions and increase productivity within the industry as a whole, really. Because right now, I'm sure that, if you guys have texted over Uber or, other platforms that are switching over to text-based customer service, you'll see that there's a large amount of response time given. And so really, we're trying to just go in there and disrupt the industry. And that's kind of our main goal. And like I said, if it's not us, it's going to be some other software. Right. And again, the agents, I'm sure the industry will be accommodating.
Right. Yeah, and that could be a cool angle to approach it, right? Where maybe you can say that, this isn't necessarily displacing any agents, but you're basically superpowering them to be able to triage even more things. So that could be an interesting
or another way of saying that, I think, Victor, is AT&T had several 100,000 customer support people in the 80s. If they had not automated and bring productivity, we'd all be doing customer support. There'd be no other jobs. Everybody needed to do customer support. The only reason we have all the other jobs is because we automated. So this trend is just continuing. You're just part of the continuum.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Automation question will always come in.
Yeah, but other than that, like, awesome job, guys. Like, there's that obviously a lot of knowledge and talent behind it. So just that extra flavor could really take you farther. So
Yep.
Right, absolutely. I completely agree with you guys in terms of polishing up our pitch deck and just polishing up just how we presented everything. Yeah, and just thank you so much for the feedback.
Well, I'm going to take back the screen here because we need to wind down today a little bit, and we've got a couple questions that need to go out there. Trying to get this to start back up. So we always ask our presenters, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Right. So first off, we'd all like to thank you guys for being here and just providing, your amazing feedback and everything like that. I think that's been really helpful for us. And so really, as we mentioned, we're kind of looking for any, connections, or if you guys could introduce us to maybe customer service or management of company that would maybe be open to having sit down with us and hearing us out. That would be absolutely amazing. But again, it was really nice meeting you all today, and just thank you for your feedback.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. So the other thing we like to let people know is there's things that you can do for the 1 Million Cups community. And the best one is bring a friend next week. Let them know about our meeting so we have more great conversations like we had today. I thought today was filled with insightful questions, comments, suggestions. The questions were answered very well. The timing of the talk was about 6 minutes and 18 seconds, which is phenomenal. So I'd have to say that today was wonderful. We really appreciate it. But because of the extra time that we spent going over things like all these great questions, I don't believe we have time to do the breakout room. I know that's going to make some of you a little sad, but I want us to thank Bonsai today for coming. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate you supporting our community by presenting, and hopefully our community will be able to support you by getting your name out there in some way and shape. So I think I'm going to call it a day with that. And everyone, thanks so much for coming. We really hope that you'll come next week and see what we've got going.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.